Hello! Hey guys, how's it going? Super excited to chat with you today about the 3 myths. Well, I hear a lot more than 3 myths, but 3 of like the most popular myths that I hear about why people think they can't start a boudoir business or why they think they can't be successful with a boudoir business. The first myth or misconception that I hear about why people think they can't be a boudoir photographer, or they can't be successful, or they can't book enough shoots is, I hear this all the time, I can't be successful because I live in a small town. I definitely had this myth in the very, very beginning, but the interesting thing is that I actually started my photography business in a really, really small town in central Wisconsin, which if you know anything about Wisconsin, it's a pretty conservative state. And I mean, it's not really known for, housing the wealthiest people in the world. So I definitely was like, oh my gosh, is anyone going to value this? Is anyone gonna be able to afford this? And really my mindset could not have been further from the truth. The only reason that I was able to really crush that mindset is because I was able to just say, okay, well, I'm gonna give this a try and just see for myself. And so I was able to book a lot of clients. Like I said, when I, not only was this a small conservative town in Wisconsin, but when I moved there, I actually knew nobody other than my husband. And you always think I live in a small town, there's not enough people to be clients. But let me ask you this. Let's say you live in a town with 20,000 people. Half of those people are men, typically half those people are women. I forgot what I said, 10,000, 20,000 people, I forget. So let's say you live in town of 20,000, 10,000 of those are your potential customers. That is plenty of people. And so I think sometimes we think we have to live in this big city, And if you live in a big city, that's great. But each scenario has its pros and cons. Okay, so living in a small town, you have less people, but you also probably have less, competitors. You probably also have less, just other photographers and other ways for people to spend their money in general. When you live in a big city, people typically are maybe busier. There's tons of other options for them to get pictures, things like that. So, that's going to exist no matter where you live. So just don't let that get in your head. Just know that you can do this. Not only am I proof, but all of my students are proof as well. We have a lot of students that live in small towns and also big towns, and they do just fine with boudoir photography. In fact, not just fine, they do amazing. The next thing is people saying, so the next myth as to why people think they can't do boudoir is they say, well, I live in the Bible Belt, or my town is too conservative. People won't be able to afford, what I have. And the truth is that, out of my many, many boudoir customers that I've had, sometimes the ones who actually have the lowest income, or the lowest, jobs or whatever, they're not CEOs or anything crazy, they actually spend the most. And so what I'm getting at here is that, you can't judge people because they will pay for what they value, and it's your job to get them to see the value. I've had people roll up in totally crappy cars with the tail lights falling out, and they bought my highest collection. I've also had clients that literally own an airplane buy not my top collection. So you can't just say oh, if I live somewhere that doesn't have money, because I lived in a small town in Wisconsin, and if you look up the average family household income, I think it's 30,000 or something. But there's plenty of people in any city that you live in or are surrounded by that has a pocket of people that do have money. There's always a range of incomes, but like I said, it doesn't matter. You don't need to find, the Queen of England, you know what I mean? It can be just a regular person, and you just have to get them to value and to love their pictures. If you do a great experience on the photo shoot and they love their pictures, they are going to want to purchase them. And not to mention, this is kind of off topic, but you can always offer a payment plan or a PayPal credit or something like that too. The next thing is, again, people saying oh, I live in the Bible Belt, or my town is too conservative, or whatever. And what's really interesting is some of my best clients are farmers and nurses and teachers. And you would think that all those types are maybe a little bit conservative, right? And they all love boudoir. Not every single client lets me post their images online, and that's totally okay because they're spending money with me, right? But, they love boudoir. Just because they're You know, I've had Mormons book boudoir shoots with me. Like, just because you would pinpoint a certain religion or a certain type of person and say like, oh, they're conservative, they don't want boudoir, like that's super judgmental and not true. Everyone wants a boudoir shoot. Ask yourself this, who doesn't want to feel beautiful? Who doesn't want to feel empowered for a day? Who doesn't want to feel like a supermodel? It doesn't matter like how big your town is or how small your town is, or if people are like wealthy, or you know what I mean? None of that matters. What matters is you having a great experience, taking amazing portraits of them and really showing them the value, because when somebody values something, they will pay for it. So the real reason, like I hear these excuses all the time, and I think a lot of people, like, they're struggling with bookings, and so they're like, oh, it must be my town, or it must be the weather, or it must be, you know, that people here are too conservative, or they don't have any money. And you know, really that's just you making excuses. I'm gonna be real here with you for a second. That's really just you making excuses because your marketing and sales strategies are not working. It's just the truth. And I would rather break this to you and have you go on to be majorly successful than for you to keep believing these myths that just are not true. So again, these myths are not true. And you have to get out there, and you need to get out there with great marketing and great sales strategies, because you can take amazing photos all day long, but it's really your marketing and sales that's going to change your business. And I know as an artist, you're like, I hate marketing and sales, but you know, if you want to be successful and you want to make good money in your photography business, then it's something that you just absolutely have to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. And really what I want to leave you with is just don't listen to those inner false belief voices. It's so easy for us along our entire journey as business owners. If something doesn't work, we like to blame things. And I do this too. I'll be like, oh, you know, it's because it's raining out, or it's because, you know, it's next to the holiday, or it's because of this or that or the other. But the reality is that your marketing and sales aren't working, and you need to fix them. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips, and if you have not joined our free Facebook group yet, it's called Boudoir and Portrait Photographers on Facebook. You can just search for it, search for the group. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.